All right, guys. So we are back for another podcast. Super excited for this episode. Today, we're going to talk about something that I feel like is very important. We're going to talk about, I call this title, I titled this The Beautiful Pain, the beauty behind pain. And I'm going to share two stories that really shaped me into who I am today. And if it wasn't for those painful moments, I wouldn't be the husband that I am right now. I wouldn't be the person I am right now. But these were moments that were like very, very harsh for me to go through. But again, they molded me to become who I am today. So I'm super excited for this episode. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that. Give it give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this episode, about this subject we're going to talk about today. And just before we get started, today we're currently April 8th, right? And if you follow my clothing brand, Upgrade Apparel, tomorrow actually, we are going to have a flash sale from Tuesday, April 9th, all the way to Friday, right? So it's a 3-day, it's going to be a 3-day flash sale. So I'm giving you the scoop, in advance. So I don't know when this is going to drop, probably today, like April 8th or tomorrow. But, regardless, stay tuned. Go ahead and go shop on officialupgradeapparel.com and take advantage of the flash sale that is going to happen tomorrow from April 9th till I believe it's going to be April 11th, 3 days, right? No, that's 2 days. So April 12th. So yeah, anyways, stay tuned for that. Let's get right into the subject. So again, I want to talk about two stories that molded me into who I am today, but these were two stories, two moments in my life that were very painful to go through. But again, they helped me to become who I am today. They helped me to understand how to have boundaries when it comes to the people that, you hang around, to the people that you look up to your spouse. And honestly, if you are going through something that is hard right now, I want to encourage you to find the lesson behind it. I want to encourage you to find what is God trying to teach me, through these hard times. Because a lot of times I feel like people just want to play victims. And if you know me, you know that I hate this mentality that, the world owes you everything. You're this little princess and, you've had such a hard life. I mean, we all go through things at different degrees, don't get me wrong. But I do believe that whatever you're going through, it molds you to become who you're intended to be. I feel like God is a lot of times, molding your character through hard things. And I've talked about this, in other podcasts as if you're not going through hard things, you're never going to become who you're intended to be. Is through going hard to, it's through going, through hard things that you become that ultimate person, that human being that is contributing to society, that great husband, that great business person, that great wife, whatever the case may be for you. But, if you never go through hard things, you're never going to develop the character to sustain those blessings that are awaiting for you, or that future life that you want, or that is awaiting for you. You know what I'm saying? So let's get started with the first story. It happened about, and I think I already talked about that. I think that was second episode, episode 2, when I talk about letting go, and I was sharing 2 other stories of how people that were close to me, people that I was, looking up to, hurt me, and I had to learn how to let go and to understand that it wasn't about who I was, but it was about who they were at that time. And they had, they had some, scars that they were just projecting on me, and if you maybe you've dealt with these kind of situations in your life where you've been hurt by someone you trust, is to understand that, hey, it's not about you, it's about who you are. Because if you're comfortable with who you are, if you're happy with who you are, and you understand where you are in your journey, you're never going to put someone else down. A lot of times when people put other people down is because they have their own insecurities that they're just projecting onto others, right? So this is the first thing to understand. But yeah, one of those stories I was sharing was about when I started that supplement business a few years ago. It was probably like 8 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I was I was 21 at the time. I'm currently 21 or 29. I was 21 at the time. I just had started this supplement business in the field of fitness. I just had gone back from France because I spent 2 years in France playing soccer, trying to become professional, and that didn't work, which is also a story that I shared on episode number 2 of Upgrade Talk, of the Upgrade Talk. But, I come back from France in 2017, right? And I started this business and I start crushing it. I'm young. I have this fire in me. I want to, do things right. Maybe soccer didn't really work, or, I had put soccer on the side a little bit just to focus on, doing business because, I was excited about this new venture that I was starting. So I started crushing. I started having a lot of clients, and I started, getting noticed by other people. And one of those people was the mentors of our group, right? So these were the people that kind of, that were there before us, and, they mentored some of us. And one of those people was the person that got me into the business, right? So again, anyways, they started noticing us and noticing me, our group of like young people just being on fire. We're doing workouts outside, gathering a lot of people, helping them with their nutrition, helping them with, starting this health and active lifestyle, right? So they started noticing us, and so they decided to, they asked us if we would be interested in, working with them to build a project, to start this, boot camp facility where we would have classes with a lot of people, give group classes and stuff like that. Anyways, we got to a point where we decided to say yes because we're doing great, but we didn't know what we were doing. We're just, going with the flow, doing what we thought that was the right thing to do and right things to do. So they decided to, take us under their wings, so we decided to, instead of doing workouts in a basement and outside in the park, they opened that workout facility, that bootcamp facility, and we just moved everything and we moved with them. This came with, again, a lot of structure, but, for me, as someone that is young, I just wanted to go. I needed that structure, but these mentors were a little bit caught up in their old ways, and were not really open to new ways of doing things. And anyways, we got to a point where we're doing everything with them. There were a lot of times some friction because 2 generations, the old way of doing things, the new way of doing things, you know the drill, right? And again, I was just someone that just wanted to work and do my business. I've never been someone that is up with the drama. I've never been someone that is, caught up with, things that is just wasting your time. But there were a lot of drama happening in that project. There were a lot of drama happening within the group, within the generations. We were doing things that were working, and we had to stop doing these things to do the things the old ways, which is, again, it depends on your philosophy on how to do things. But I'm a huge proponent of trying new things, and, it's business is about innovating. And so I was just like a young buck trying to just crush it. I was just worried about crushing it. I wanted to climb the levels. I wanted to, make a difference. I wanted to make money. I wanted to, I had these huge dreams, So anyways, a lot of drama was happening in that group. And at some point there was a situation that happened where they expected me to go to an event, but I also had started the soccer camp with a semi-professional team in Canada, right? So I was doing both. It was working for me. I had stopped doing soccer a little bit, but I wanted to go back because it was something I love, and I didn't want to give it up like altogether. I wanted to still like play competitive, even though it was not professionally, but I still wanted to do it, And there was an event that expected me to attend, but I didn't go because I had a camp, And so the camp was during the weekend, and the event was during the weekend as well. So I went to the camp instead because the camp was like a week or 2 weeks before the season was starting. So the next week, I come into the boot camp facility. So it was called a Fit Club, So I come into the Fit Club. super excited. I just had a great weekend, soccer camp and everything. And they're waiting for me, like almost with like rage in their eyes, but I'm like, I'm 21. Like that's what I want you to understand. I'm 21. I'm not saying that what I did was the right thing or so, but I'm saying like you have to understand that I'm young. I'm gonna make mistakes. It's okay. I'm still super new to this thing. There are certain things that I don't really understand, and it's like a kid. Sometimes they're gonna mess up. If they don't, sometimes they just don't understand certain things, right? So it's your duty as a parent or as a mentor to educate those people and to make them understand in a way that makes sense to them, because otherwise they're just gonna like shut off. So anyways, they're waiting for me at the fit club, at the boot camp facility, right? Like with anger, especially because there were a couple. The girl was like, okay, she was a little bit mad, but not that much. But the guy was really, really angry. So he starts yelling at me, like going off, like you're a failure. You're not up to nothing. Like he goes off, like, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was along these lines. But I remember he said like, you're a failure. I remember that because it marked me. So, and it wasn't only that. We had a group meeting because every Monday we would have like meetings to prepare the week. So during the meeting, he doubles down on it and exposes me in front of everybody, in front of my peers. And I remember at that time, I was like shocked. I'm like, bro, like it wasn't that deep. Like you need to go like off like that on me. So he just goes off and off and off and off. Like, we're trusting you, and like you're not worthy of like of trust and XYZ. So the meeting ends. I'm like, I was so crushed, and I had like a client appointment like right after, and I remember just going to the bathroom and like bawling out, like crying, like what the heck is this? You know what I'm saying? And it was so toxic that even the group of people, the group of young people that we decided to join that project with, eventually they just left because the environment was so toxic, right? And I decided to stay because I was still bringing on people. I was still bringing in people and like getting clients and stuff. So I decided to stay because I needed that structure. Even though the environment was toxic, I decided to stay. But eventually, after a few years, I'm like, man, it's not worth it. Every time that I would bring people, they would like talk down on me, talk behind my back, like do stuff. I'm like, again, as I said, I'm not up for this whole drama thing. So eventually I just left, and eventually I left the business. I'm doing my own thing now. But that particular moment marked me, and I'll never forget it, because it made me understand, like, in leadership, there are certain things that you do and there are certain things that you don't do. You have to first understand your people. You have to understand how to talk to different people. For me, you can tell me I'm wrong all day long. I'm okay with that. Like I want to grow. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Like, I want to learn. I was so like hungry to learn and hungry to grow. But you have to like approach it like, hey, what you did was not like, it's not good. You have to attend those events, and that's what's important. X, Y, and Z. You're doing great right now. I know you have your soccer thing. Maybe like just talk to us in advance, and we'll see. We could maybe advise you and guide you. Don't just like wait for me and go off on me like out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So that shaped me, because I remember that was in 2017. This is the time I was so crushed, you guys. I was so crushed because it killed my momentum, and I went to this like dark place in my mind where I was like, I didn't want to do nothing. And it was near the end of the year with the cold in Canada and stuff. It really played, like, it was really heavy on my mental health, right? So that's where I decided to really start the gym seriously. In 2017, I really decided to like start the gym seriously, and that's where my gym transformation started. Because I didn't want to go to like, alcohol or stuff like that. I've never been a proponent of that. And I wanted to find something that would just be good for my mental health and be good for my physique. I didn't want to go into toxic things, but I wanted to get out of that, slump, that, bad mental space. So I decided to start a gym, and I put on like 30 pounds of muscle mass in about 3 years, I would say. Completely changed my physique. It helped me, my confidence. It helped me with my health, they helped me with my business, they helped me in so many other things because I already had the discipline, you know. But the gym was something kind of new for me because before that I was only doing sports and running and stuff like that. But I was not having to weightlifting. So this point in my time, this point in my life, I remember 2017, that exact time where I had to go to the bathroom and just cry my eyes out just because I was crushed. But I had a decision to make at that time, and it was like, do I let this just ruin me, or how can I take this and like turn into something good and into something better? It took time, and eventually I confronted that mentor about that specific situation, other situation that happened after that, right? And of course, they didn't take accountability for it, and that's okay. But I gather up my courage to go in and confront that situation at some point. And again, it really helped me to become a better leader. It really helped me to to shape me into who I am today. When it comes to it started my fitness transformation, when I had people joining my teams, when I talk to people now. This is also one of the reasons why I try to, empathize with people, because I know that everybody's going through stuff, and talking to people when you're leading, whether it's your family, whether it's a church, whether it's whatever type of organization, you have to understand your people, and make sure that you're talking to people in a way that they can receive it, because otherwise you're just going to burn bridges, So that's the first story. And it really, again, I'll never forget it, because it was just, I was just shocked. I was like, not even like, it's not even like I knew it was coming. I was just like, bro, the guy just went off on me as soon as I stepped into the door, right? That was the first story. Second story was about a few years back. I would say like 4 years ago. Is a dating story. It was a dating story. I had met this girl online. She followed me on Instagram. We started talking, and honestly, the first mistake that I made was I really thought she was out of my league. For me, it was like, bro, this girl is way too fine. Like, ain't no way she's gonna be interested in me. But she showed interest, and eventually we started like going on dates and stuff like that. So that was before my wife, of course. And I remember just not setting boundaries. So she would do stuff, we would set out to go on a date, or would plan out to do something, and she would just like bail on me last second. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, or I would even sometimes apologize myself, for not being enough understanding, so eventually that girl just ghosted me after a few months of dating. It's crazy because that's one of the things that I learned through this story is the importance of boundaries, because she would do stuff again and I would just like let it slide, because to me it was like, I'm so grateful. She's so fine. You know what I'm saying? And that helped me, because now when I started dating my wife, now like from the get-go, I set boundaries like from the start. Like everything, if there was something that would happen, that's something she would do, I would tell her like straight up, hey, like, we ain't doing this, or this is not acceptable for me, and I feel like this is like maybe a girl trait, if you're a guy, maybe I can give you a little like advice. So one of the things that I realized, like, girl, they're going to test you to see like what you're made of, what you're about, it's not necessarily bad. And yes, sometimes it's not done in the best way possible, but I do believe that they're going to test you, like, are you like a leader or what are you, so they're going to do stuff sometimes just like test you. And of course it's your job as a man to first find a girl that you share the same values and character. You don't want to go out of your way. So that's one of the mistakes that I made. And thank God, like, because I dodged a bullet, because even though we would have like end up, dating seriously and stuff, it wouldn't have lasted, just because in terms of values, we're separate. In terms of character, separate. We don't want the same things out of life. It would have been a miss. That's why I say, like, I dodged a bullet, like, straight up, but nonetheless, I do believe that even if you find a girl that you share the same values and she has the right character, she's still going to test you. If you're a man of God and you find a woman of God, she's going to test you, like, what you're about. She's going to try to poke you from time to time. And it's your job as a man to, like, hey, and even as a woman, if the guy does something, it's your job to, set your boundaries. Hey, we're not doing this here. And I remember me and my wife, sometimes we do have arguments or disagreements, I would say. Sometimes we do have disagreements. And one of the things that I told her is, like, hey, like, you want a man that's going to respect you and love you. It's going to come with some boundaries, and that's one of the things that I didn't do back in the days with that other girl, that I learned from my mistakes. Because honestly, I remember, like, sitting down, recording like a 4 or 5 minute video, like apologizing for I don't know what, and again, back at that time I was like 24, 25 maybe. So it was like a good 4 or 5 years ago, and I learned a lot. And that's why I say that moment when she just ghosted me, and eventually she told me that she went back with her ex while we were, like, kind of flirting or whatnot, it opened my eyes to the fact that if you don't set your limits, if you don't set your boundaries, people are gonna, like, run you over. And this is just a fact. And again, it's not about being mean. It's about knowing your value. It's about knowing your boundaries, so that when people come into your space, they know what to expect. You have your not limits. I'm looking for a word that is so simple. You have your boundaries. Yeah, I'll probably find the word later. But you have the boundaries, and people wouldn't know what to expect. They have their expectations. You have your expectations, and you know that, hey, if they cross the line, it is not acceptable. If they talk to you a certain way, it is not acceptable. And that's one of the things that, for me, it really helped me again when I met my wife. She was a girlfriend at the time, and we're just dating, two different cultures, to the different upbringings. At first, it was just about getting to know ourselves, getting to know each other, and understanding, hey, how do we make this work? You know what I'm saying? Because, as I said in the podcast that I had with her, for me, the most important thing when it comes to relationship is you have to find someone that you share the same values, and someone that has the right character, a character that you see that is going to bring to a place of fulfillment, of success when it comes to your relationship and other aspects. Because honestly, as a guy, the right woman is an ultimate cheat code. Like, if you have the right woman by your side that can support you in your goals, support you in your dreams, that is going to go out of her way to make you feel empowered. Like, this is the best thing ever, waking up to the woman of your dream every day. And it's funny because one of the mistakes that I made with that first girl was that, I fell for beauty. And it's funny because the Bible says, I don't have the verse, but it says that, beauty dissipates, beauty fades away, but a woman that fears the Lord is to be praised. This is a bar, because this is the mistake that I feel like a lot of men make. They just go for beauty, and they don't look at values. They don't look at character. And when you look at values and character, you have some sort of guidance in terms of, what type of woman you should date and stuff like that, right? But ultimately, I think that these are things that I had to go through when it comes to my leadership, when it comes to finding the right woman. I had to go through these things to learn that, hey, as a leader, these are the things that you have to do. These are the things that you can do. As a man, dating a woman or wanting to marry a woman, these are the things that you are to expect. These are the expectations. These are the boundaries that you are to set, to have something that is healthy. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be who I am today. As I said at the beginning, if it wasn't for me being humiliated literally in front of my peers, I wouldn't be who I am today. If it wasn't for me being played by another girl, I wouldn't be who I am today. And again, thank God, because today I have an amazing wife. Like, she's, like the best above like any other girl that I've ever met in my whole life. So thank God that I dodged that bullet, respectfully. But, because when I say dodging bullet, I'm saying thank God that it didn't, become something serious, because God knows what type of, like, what type of things it would have done to my mental health, if that makes sense, what type of scars it would have made to my mental health, right? Anyways, I like to say, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what type of hard things is happening in your life, but I want you to understand that it's happening for a reason. It's happening for you to develop and to learn and to become someone. And it's something that I always talk about, in the podcast is when you go through things, ask yourself this question: hey, what is God trying to teach me? Or what is the lesson that I am to learn in the midst of adversity, in the midst of, humiliation, in the midst of, being broke, not having money, or, being in a tough situation. What am I to learn right now, right here? And, you see me talk on a podcast about all these things. And that's why when people come to me with like an excuse, or when people come to me, being crushed, I talk and I again, I try to empathize with those people. But again, I also trying to tell them, hey, don't be a victim. Because at the end of the day, if you're just seeking for approval, and you're just seeking for people to tell you how great you are, life doesn't work like that. You have to, the Bible says you're going to sow what you reap. You have to reap. You have to go through things. You have to do the work in order for you to get a result. You have to go through pain in order for you to become that person, to build your character. Without that, you're not gonna become that person. So when I talk in the podcast, or when I talk with people, I talk because I know what it feels like to be humiliated. I know what it feels like to be played by another girl. I know what it feels like to trust someone and have that person stabbing you in the back. I know what it feels like to pour into people as a leader, and having those people or that group or whatever to, turning your back on you at, every as soon as something happens, or whenever they're not happy. I've been through all these things, and that's why I say it's okay. Don't be a victim. Just understand, learn the lesson, and do better for next time. Because all these situations that's only 2 situations that I shared today, but these 2 situations helped me to become who I am today. But there are many more other stories that happened in my life that helped me to grow, and that are still helping me to grow. There are still situations that I go through that help me to grow, but now I have some sort of baggage. I have some sort of experience to ask myself, okay, what is the lesson? Instead of saying, life is so tough. Life is coming at me. Life is not coming at you. Life is, coming for you. If you know how to approach, and if you can change your perspective on hard times, on pain, if you can change your perspective on pain, it's going to shift the way you move about it. If when you go through pain, you play the victim card, you're all going to stay at the same level. But if when pain happens, you take the mature, the wise approach of asking yourself, okay, what's the lesson behind it? If you can do that, well, you're going to crush it. You're going to grow regardless, and that's the whole point. All that to say that you have to understand your season. You have to understand the hard times that are happening to you. And more than that, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is the lesson? How can I grow from it? Because if you don't grow from it, you're going to stay at the same level. And that's not the goal, right? I hope you guys like the episode. I hope you got something out of it. If you like the episode, let me know in the comments. Comment on YouTube. Give it a 5-star on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time. And of course, as I always say, until next time, get up, get dressed, and go get what's yours. Peace out.